Alright, my history besties, let me spill the absolute messy tea about the election of 1968. It had everything: war, assassinations, cultural rebellion, and a major political shift that still shapes American politics today. If you thought 2020 was chaotic, buckle up, because 68 was a roller coaster. First, picture America in 1968. The Vietnam War was dragging on and people hated it. Young men were being drafted, body bags were coming home on live TV, and the government kept saying everything's fine when it clearly was not. The Tet Offensive had just happened, and Americans saw on their brand new color TVs that the war was not under control. Cue the credibility gap. People started distrusting the government big time. The civil rights movement was still going strong, but things were getting deadly. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in April, sparking riots across the country. Robert F. Kennedy, the Democratic favor and a civil rights supporter, was assassinated 2 months later after winning the California primary. The Democratic Party was in shambles. With RFK gone, the Democratic nominee became Hubert Humphrey, Lyndon B. Johnson's VP, aka Mr. Establishment. Problem: Humphrey was tied to LBJ's Vietnam War policies and nobody liked those. When the Democratic National Convention happened in Chicago, it was a disaster. Protesters outside, police violence, chaos everywhere. It was so bad, it aired on TV and people watching at home were horrified. Then we have Richard Nixon, yes, that Nixon, the guy who lost the presidency to JFK in 1960 and made the most awkward TV date appearance ever. He spent 8 years plotting his comeback, and in 68, he played it smart. His campaign message: law and order, and appealing to the silent majority, the regular middle-class Americans who were over all the protests, riots, and counterculture craziness. Now, remember how TV wrecked Nixon in 1960 when JFK looked all cool and handsome while Nixon looked like he had just recovered from the flu? Well, Nixon learned. In 68, he avoided the TV debate, stayed scripted, and played it safe, looking all presidential. It worked. And let's not forget George, you ain't integrated in our schools, Wallace, the pro-segregation former governor of Alabama. He ran as an independent, openly opposing civil rights and appealing to the Southern white voters who were mad at the Democratic Party for embracing integration. His running mate, Curtis LeMay, who literally suggested using nuclear bombs in Vietnam. Wallace won 5 Southern states, proving that the Southern strategy, or courting white Southern voters, was the way for Republicans to win in the future. But wait, didn't Nixon lose the South in 1960? Yep. In 1960, the South was still solidly Democratic. They called it the Solid South for a reason. But by 1968, the Civil Rights Act had pushed white Southern voters away from the Democrats. Nixon saw that opportunity and started the Southern strategy, subtly appealing to their not-so-subtle frustrations. With the Democrats divided, the anti-war movement in the streets, and Wallace splitting the votes, Nixon won. Humphrey made a comeback at the end, but it was too little too late. Nixon was back, baby. The election of 1968 changed everything. The Democratic Party fell apart. The Republicans locked in their law and order message that still exists today. The South shifted permanently toward the Republican Party. And Nixon, he was about to go down in history for reasons that had nothing to do with this election. Watergate. But that's tea for another day. Moral of the story: when America is in chaos, elections can get wild. Keep that in mind next things start getting heated. Until then, stay curious, spill the tea, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Bye!